And they've got demonstrations starting up, then the police can put it down, and then either the police state comes in and they get total control, the globalist, or they actually have a socialist communist overthrow. Then a civil war starts, and then after the police and military are chewed up in a 5-year war, which the RAND Corporation has been preparing for, then they bring in the UN troops, as Henry Kissinger said, and the public is thankful for it. To quote his address in 1991 at Bilderberg in Avignon, France, when presented with this scenario, riot, civil unrest, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted to them by their world government. Henry Kissinger, front page of Infowars.com. The problem is, if most of the country has guns, you can't have total widespread anarchy, even if you order the police to stand down. Hence, take the guns. And this is just disgusting that this is happening. The police were ordered to stand down. They're under federal control. The governor said that. The National Guard was stopped until they could get it stirred up. And now the Democrats are launching all over the country, I guess, for a Thanksgiving surprise. We are joined, and then we'll go to James first, who disagrees and says that I'm being racist. I can't wait to hear this. And then we'll go to Rob, Richard, Stan, and John by the time the broadcast ends. But I'm not just covering this, guys, because it's an interesting story. It's a microcosm into how media works, how PSYOPs work. I'm not bragging again to the audience. Infowars.com. Go to my July 17th special alert TV news piece the next day. Watson did an article predicting this, because when the big red one, when the standard army is training with role players who every one of them are black and practicing throwing them in FEMA camps during civil unrest, why would there be a big black uprising? Because the media is hyping this up, and the only racism here is the undertone to accept the police state and troops on the street, as a major general's now called for on CNN, by stirring up an inner-city black community, and the media throwing fire saying they should be out there, they should be angry. CNN and others up until now defending violence, calling it protesting, to then demonize protesting itself. Then that scares white communities, middle-class communities, you name it, into accepting the police state and then having soft racism because of what they've seen, all manipulated by the globalist. That's how they operate, problem, reaction, solution. So Jakari Jackson is back. Joe Biggs is back. Jakari, you just said quite a bit during the break when you walked in here about the guys that were around you kind of threatening you and stuff. I mean, repeat what you said earlier. You also talked about folks that always want, you know, us to go out and call for violence, but or somebody else to go out and do it. Jakari?
That's pretty much what happened last night. I was confronted by some guy, and he says, "Hey, you're Jakari Jackson." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You work for Alex Jones?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Alex Jones is out here calling us terrorists." I said, well, he said he's out here calling black people terrorists. I said, no, the issue is the people who are out here burning down the buildings, looting the Boost Mobile store. That's the people who are the problem, not because of the color of your skin. And then, you know, it's this older guy. He's probably about 5'6" or whatever. And the whole time he's yelling loud and he's, you know, doing this thing. Hey, come over here, come over here. And then, you know.
Yeah, he didn't want to fight you. He wanted to get a bunch of.
He wanted other people to come over there. Then the other guys who came over, they were at least willing to hear me out. And I said, hey, this is what this guy has to say. This is what I have to say. And, you know, they were, you know, they're excited. You know, they're getting into the thing, but they weren't, you know, so much bowing up to me. And that's when the guy, he's like, oh, you're scared, huh? I said, ain't nobody scared of you. And then his argument pretty much fell apart, because then Joe came over there and he was like, there's Joe Biggs. He's saying this and that. And Biggs is like, no. And, you know, the hardest thing this time around is just convincing people that we weren't police or whatever. You know, the first couple of days we get there, we're dressed in black, we got body armor on and all that stuff. And the people who didn't recognize us from the first time, they were real skeptical of our presence. But then after a couple of days, they heard about us. They went back and watched some of our interviews and reports from August, and then they kind of loosened up around us. So a lot of people weren't really going for it, but for the people who didn't know, who the people who would just believe anything that somebody talking loud would believe, they kind of fell in with this guy, but it wasn't that many people.
He was trying to provocateur. It looked to me like a fight.
Yeah, he was the same guy there that was there the night before, too, right before the riot broke out. He was sitting there right against the metal barricade, screaming and cussing at the cops, saying he was going to get him. It was the same guy. All I did was change.
Well, it's good you didn't show fear, though, when those other guys come over. Like you said earlier, when Moore came over, you just said, all right, I'm ready to fight if I have to.
I mean, I wasn't out there looking for a fight, but, you know, I'm not a real kind of back down guy. You know, I was like, you know, if it's going to go to that point.
Well, that's the thing. Especially when there's more people, you almost feel tougher. It's like, you want to gang up on me?
Yeah, I mean, but the guys who came over, the younger guys, they weren't so much blowing up to me. They were disagreeing with me, which, is fine.
Well, they were sticking their fingers in your face at first.
Yeah, I mean, but they chilled out. They, just some young, excitable guys.
Oh, that guy was lying to him, yeah.
Yeah, it was the guy, the older guy in the brown ski mask. He has to wear 2 masks to walk down the street in his own neighborhood. He's the one trying to kick up stuff.
I doubt it's even his own neighborhood. He's probably from somewhere else.
Well, he claimed he was a resident, but he claimed
there's a lot of people did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was telling you to go?
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, get out of here. And I'm like, you came in my face. I'm not backing down. And that's when the guys came over, and he just was like, oh, my gosh, he's not backing down. And then I don't know how those guys, maybe you're talking to him, Joe, the Danish guys. They came over.
Yeah, they came up to me, yeah.
And they started filming us. I'm like, what? And I just thought they were filming the scene. He's like, no, we're doing the thing on alternative media, so we'll be on Danish TV. And
well, good job. Your take on the situation, Joe? It's now spreading all over the country.
I mean, it's spiraled out of control. I mean, this is no longer a protest. I mean, there's some people out there that are protesting, and that's fine and dandy. But then when a lot of these outsiders come in, incite violence, start burning stuff down, that's where you got to draw the line.
But it is terrorism to shoot at fire department people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the definition
I was literally filming there. I was standing right behind the truck, and I could hear it. Yeah. And I could see the looks on their faces as they were like tears and sad and angry at the same time because they wanted to help save that business in their community, and they weren't able to. They had no protection, and they were being shot at by a bunch of outsiders who were acting like a bunch of hoodlums.
And that's the thing that I wanted to touch on. We talked about this a lot, but we can't stress it enough that a lot of the people out there weren't from that community. The people who were out there, looting the businesses and tearing stuff up. There are a lot of good, decent people in Ferguson, Missouri. We met plenty of them, all races, ages.
When you were there last week, folks were saying this is a psyop to stir everybody up.
Yeah,
that's what the real locals were saying.
Yeah, we talked to people at the grocery store, and they were like, "Yeah, we want this to be over, but we think people are stirring up. We got outside provocateurs coming in and trying to burn the city down. Burning the city down isn't going to help anything, And
well, now you got Democratic Party known groups all over the country running this. What do you think they're planning?
I just think they want to see the collapse of the city. I don't know why they want so bad to wound this city any more than what it already has been, but some people want that. I guess they profit off that in some way.
It's beyond that now. If they start calling military to these other cities as well, I mean, that's what they want, martial law.
They want a reason to have all these police and the heavy armor and the tear. Can you hand me that tear gas canister, Alex?
Right here.
Because they keep lying and saying that they didn't use it. This is a CS gas.
Well, that is another problem. And then the government lies. They're bad, too.
Yeah.
Because they're behind it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a lot of blame to go around, but it's not everybody in the crowd is bad. There's bad people in the crowd. There's good people in the crowd. Same thing with the police. The police were really bad in August. This time around, they were much more calm.
You guys glad to be home?
Had much better leadership. Yeah, it is nice to be back home. Yeah, there you go. Banned in war, but they can use them in Ferguson, Missouri. And then they said, we didn't use these. And then Joe gave them an earful.
Yeah. It says CS gas, and then on there it says do not use on humans.
Yeah, I mean, we got.
But there we were criticizing the police when they shot Joe with rubber bullets and you with tear gas, and how they lied so they were helping the TV crews when they took their cameras.
Al Jazeera.
But now, we were great then, but we were still criticizing the looters. Now that it's clearly, really dangerous, people getting killed and stuff. Oh, now, Jakari, you are a sellout because you don't want to shoot fire department people.
No, I don't, expect anybody to go out there and shoot a fire department official or burn down a building or loot a Boost Mobile store. And a lot of people that have animosity towards Darren Wilson in that area. But I'm like, what is looting the Boost Mobile store going to do anything to Darren Wilson?
Well, the suspicious thing about all these fires, though, too, like I said, the doors were locked. The firefighters had to use chainsaws to try to get in. So how is there a fire in the center of the building?
It might not have been the Justice Department doing it, though they're prime suspects. They've been caught doing false flags like Fast and Furious. Business owners could have used this as a cover to get insurance money.
That's a possibility, yeah. I mean,
who believes they would torch the black church?
Well, that's where the pastor was, I believe, that's already had 75 death threats, and the FBI was actually investigating it. 75 threats since back in August.
And why is he having the threats?
Just for speaking out about what's going on, just saying, hey, everybody, cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah, he wanted a calmer solution.
Oh, so he's not stirring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's probably racist too, then.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic.
And that's kind of what it is. It's gotten to the point where even, black people are doing that against other black people because they have no argument. You're a racist. I'm like, I got tear gas with these guys. I walk with these guys. I got chased by MRAPs with these guys. So, people know that they can go watch those videos and just see if this guy just wanted,
yeah, well, it's not just inner city places that are dumbed down. The general public's either awake or totally dumb. I mean, I talk to people all the time, white, black, Hispanic, who can't even talk. I mean, they've got a job. They're even driving a nice car, but they don't know what planet they're on. But they can tell you about every TV show. Remember, they were like, don't worry, this won't affect Dancing with the Stars 2 days ago. I saw that in the news. Like, who cares,
People want to see that Dancing with the Stars, I guess.
Well, there are some good-looking women on there.
There was some dancing around and some stars going off. You can call them flashbangs, though, the other night. That was that's one of those events, like I said, you'll never get that out of your mind. That was crazy to see something like that happen in America on the streets. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of police officers walking up and down the road. And then last night going back out and seeing that road, and it's just dead. There's nothing there.
Yeah, the entire
just National Guard
is blocked off because the entire street is a crime scene.
Well, I just have folks calling in, and I appreciate them calling in, and I respect what they have to say, but aren't you want to get something done, Alex? Ruining a black neighborhood?
Yeah, doesn't.
Well, the issue I encounter a lot at any demonstration I go to, that you always have